My name is Khalid Ali Abdul Jalil Turk. I was born and raised in the Kingdom of Bahrain. I grew up in Manama, near the police fort. As a young boy, I was very active and really very social, especially with all the neighborhood children. I grew up in a very large household of 6 aunts and 4 sisters, grandparents, and my parents all living in a very large house. So you can imagine how active it was in many ways. Growing up in the neighborhood full of kids, it was a very active street life. We didn't have any iPads or iPhones or any computers or any games that you held in your hands. So we had to play in the street, like with marbles and football and so many other activities. I studied at Sacred Heart School, which was very close to where I lived. And in those days, it was considered to be one of the best schools. It was academically the top school, teaching the British curriculum. It was multicultural, and today I have friends throughout the world, from Australia to Canada. Then I studied briefly at the Gulf Polytechnic in Easttown. And then from there I transferred to the United States, California. I got my bachelor's degree in business administration and economics from a college called St. Mary's. And then I continued at the Golden Gate University, where I was awarded the master's degree in finance and marketing. The beauty of this university was that all the chief executive officers from the major companies like Bank of America and Bechtel came to teach us the practical way in the classroom. I returned home to the Kingdom of Bahrain in 1988, and I was thrown into the family business immediately. Well, let me say, literally. I actually wanted to work in the banking sector to practice what I preach and learn practical from the theories. But my father wanted me to be in the business immediately, and so I had to stay. I started as a foreman, didn't have much experience in transport business, and I was a quick learner, I must say. I started at the port, the Mina Salman port, learning about customs clearance, receiving cargo directly from ships or by containers. I learned the ropes, as they say. Soon I became involved in the office affairs, from invoicing, collecting money, banking, and negotiating business with our clients. I implemented whatever knowledge I had in management and brought about a lot of changes in the company. Within 2 years, I had managed to turn the company around. I worked day and night to get awarded the largest project in 1990 in the Kingdom of Bahrain. That was the Alba Hotline 4 project. We literally tripled the asset size and the revenue of the company. I received the best training I needed in the freight forwarding business, in particular from this project and the management of Bechtel International, who was managing contractor of this project. How we got to where we are today was not by chance, but in fact by hard work and creativity. I knew that to beat the competition, I needed to be unique. I invested in heavy lift equipment. Nobody dared to invest in those days, and I trained people to implement such equipment which was required for all the major projects that were going on in Bahrain. We were going through major development and diversification in the industries in the Kingdom of Bahrain. Normally the projects depend on foreign companies to mobilize their equipment to Bahrain, do the job, take their money, and leave. This way we kept the money in our country. We trained our people in the kingdom, and we maintained our resources in the kingdom. We further diversified into heavy craneage, and then into shipping and air freight industries. Today, we are a fully fledged logistics company with our own assets, which other logistics companies do not necessarily have and are not as fully diversified as we are. We have completed most of the major projects in Bahrain, especially in the industrial sector. And today, we are well represented in over 122 countries by our representatives. Within the first couple of years, although transport was not my passion, I knew I had to make it my life and for my dependents. But I had to simultaneously find and follow my own passion. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I knew something was missing. I wanted something I could call my own. I got a commercial license and called it Synergy International Marketing. I loved and still love new technologies, products, and services. It is very, very important never to give up in what you are looking for and never think negatively. Believe in what you want and be passionate about it, and most importantly, believe in yourself. I wanted to do something to play with and develop, and Synergy was my space, my own playground. I could make or lose money without hurting anyone. I had to search for quite some time, and in the back of my mind, I just wanted to have a product that I could do something with. Looking through magazines at the time was the only way. We didn't have the internet to surf through search engines like Google or Yahoo and so forth. And letters still took months to reach the manufacturers, and lucky if I got a reply. I also attended several trade missions that visited Bahrain from different countries. My personal journey began with a trade mission from the UK. I met an ex-colonel who was trying to sell a machine called the hammer, which was based on the guillotine. It was used in the road construction business. I sat with him and he saw this young man, me, before him, full of enthusiasm, though I was quite nervous at the time. I asked him if he had seen anyone other than me, as I needed to know who my competition would be. And he said not yet, but was expecting to see a couple of businessmen within a couple of hours. I can recall that I was very open and quite blunt about who I was. I told him exactly these words, if I can recall. I am a small establishment and fairly new. However, I will be personally handling the marketing of this machine. I know the business owners personally, and I can only try my best to sell your machine. I said, all I need is 6 to 8 months from you. I don't need a signed contract. If I succeed, then I can sign a contract. And if I don't, you still have the option to work with any other company in Bahrain. So he simply smiled at me and shook my hand. And to my surprise, he said, okay, go ahead. I left the meeting with a huge smile on my face. But at the same time, I could not stop thinking for the next few days, what was I to do? The catalog was in front of me all the time, every day, and I couldn't stop thinking on how to sell this machine. Then to my amazement, an associate who had seen this catalog in my office informed me that there was a second-hand machine like this hammer in the scrapyard, and someone was thinking about purchasing it. This was only between 2 to 3 months since my meeting with the colonel. I was quite happy to find out that the scrapyard actually belonged to one of my friend's brother. So I immediately contacted the buyer and informed him that I was the representative of the company in Bahrain. And we went ahead to meet at the scrapyard. So he asked me if I could help repair this machine. I mean, at that moment, it was like an epiphany. What an opportunity. So I immediately went back to the office and I called the colonel. And I explained to him that I had found a machine, a second-hand machine, in Bahrain. He was shocked and impressed at the same time. So I made a daring suggestion to him. I told him that I needed his technician to come to Bahrain to repair this machine at their cost. Only spare parts would be paid for, if any. And to my relief, he agreed. And within a week, the technician was in Bahrain. So to cut it short, the machine was repaired, but the buyer, unfortunately, instead of using it, resold it and the machine left the island. But that was a major insight for me. And this experience opened huge opportunities. My passion to do more and had only created more avenues. Shortly after this incident, I received a call from a German company. The German company is called Turk GmbH. The gentleman said that they are taking over this company, Hammer, and they wanted me to represent their business in Bahrain because the colonel was like full of words about me. I didn't know who this company was, so I asked him to send me their catalogs, which he mailed to me immediately. As of then, there was still no internet. At that time, there were only 4 asphalt road construction companies. So it was fairly easy for me to do my research. I discovered that all of them have at least one machine from this German company, and no one represented them in Bahrain. So I introduced myself to these companies as the agent in Bahrain. I sent a report within a week to the German company, and the German representative immediately planned his trip to Bahrain within the next 2 weeks. We met, I introduced my customers to him, and believe it or not, we got orders. It was like riding a wave of success. When your mind is filled with positive belief, and you are passionate about what you want, trust me, miracles are not fairy tales. A few years passed, and our market grew. More asphalt construction companies in Bahrain were established. And during this time, the Turk group acquired several more international road construction equipment within its field. And every new product was added to our list of representation. Today, this German company is the leading, if not the #1 road construction manufacturer with the top brands in the industry. Our machines beat the competition with their innovative engineering and their patent rights. The colonel, sadly, I lost contact with. But the German gentleman is one of my closest friends today. And our business still is based on trust and that first handshake. You ask about the essential qualities of a successful entrepreneur. It brings to my mind a famous quote by one of the most famous industrialist geniuses of the 20th century, Henry Ford. He said, "Whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you are right." A lot of people misunderstand what its true meaning actually is. So, if one reads it just plainly, it's because if somebody can do something, he will do it, and if somebody cannot do it, he will say he can't do it. But in fact, it relates to the willingness and the unwillingness to try new ways, new methods, new developments. So the entrepreneur who says he can, he will do. But if you plant that seed of you can't, you will never do. Therefore, avoid as much as you can to say you can't. There is another statement that I do like very much and I refer to quite often. And this is the 21/90 day rule. It takes 21 days to create a habit, and it takes 90 days to create a lifestyle. So be careful to avoid bad habits, but in fact, try your best to create positive habits. The entrepreneur needs to control his mind, and not the mind to control the entrepreneur. It is you who will create the habits. It is you who will guide the mind. It is you who will train the mind to behave automatically. Just as you learn how to drive a car. When you learn to drive the car, after some time, you will realize that you drive to different destinations automatically while your mind is actually engaged in several different thoughts. So train your mind to behave automatically in your business with continued success. You ask, what are the qualities of an entrepreneur? Different people describe it in different ways. But what I believe in is that entrepreneur has to be ambitious and passionate. He has to be creative and innovative. He is basically a problem solver. He loves to learn and apply that knowledge. He can adapt to change, and at the same time he will create change. But last but not least, he never gives up. What are the rewards of an entrepreneur? Well, the best reward is when you achieve all of the results that you have been seeking. In particular, that they have to be positive. The second, it's being able to give a good life to your family. And third, to have the ability to share what you have learned, be a mentor to young entrepreneurs, and being able to give back to the community. Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? It's a very good question. I would really like to be retired and to be able to travel the world. But knowing myself, I know that I cannot sit down and do nothing. I already have plans to expand. I am expecting to have a representative office in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia within this year, and to follow up with an office in the United Arab Emirates. From there, we hope that we can grow and diversify into the GCC. But this is an ambitious plan, and I have already recruited the right people to work with me. And one important factor is that you need to invest in the people and let them do what you expect them to do. My last suggestion to all the young entrepreneurs can be summed up in 3 words. Conceive, believe, and achieve.